Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode here on the Mr. Analyst channel. My name is Leighton Levy, and thanks again for joining us. If you haven't already done so, urging you to subscribe to the channel, like, and share our content. Wanted to do this from yesterday, but Donna Oliver's funeral, as you know, most of you would have known that the funeral yesterday from 11 lasted for about 3 hours. And of course, I didn't go to the site, but I had other things that I had to do that kind of impacted on my day. So I'm getting to do this now. Because in the past couple of days, especially yesterday, the New Balance indoor meet, couple of good performances. Of course, there was a world record by Josh Hoey, breaking that 29-year-old record by Wilson Kiptoker that was set from 1997. Hoey ran 142.50. But closer to home, we're talking about the performances of Noah Lyles against Jerry Richards, and of course, Brianna Liston making her international pro debut with a second place finish in the 60 meter. That and some other things we'll talk about, of course, the Clayton twins as well, because they ran last weekend, not the weekend gone, the weekend before that. And of course, were beaten by Johnny Smith, who won yesterday in Germany as well. So we was having somebody who knows a little bit about track and field to talk to us about this. And this is the 1995 world record, 95 world champion, the 96 Olympic champion, and former world record holder Donovan Bailey, joining us to kind of break down what we saw over the past couple of days. Donovan, thanks for joining us. Let's start with Noah Lyles. Noah Lyles is probably the biggest name in track and field. He opens with a 300-meter run against Jerry Richards, 32-14 to 32-15. A close race won by the Trinidadian. But Noah Lyles looks bigger and he looks stronger. And in a non-championship year, what does that mean? I mean, this is his third fastest time over 300 meters. Does it suggest that maybe this is a year where big things are in store for him, where in terms of trying to run faster? Because 9-7 just beat him in Tokyo last year. He's no longer the fastest man in the world based on what he says. Give me a sense of what you think this year could be for Noah Lyles, given that the cycle coming up, 27, 28, 29, where would be probably his last hurrah in terms of his last major cycle as one of the most accomplished athletes.
Well, happy New Year, Leighton, and my condolences to you and your media family on the passing of Donald, and your good friend and colleague. And, listen, it's one of the things that I've always done, and I did this, during my career, is the indoors don't count. Don't ever really count. The indoor world championships never really count. So major championships to us and track and field is the outdoor world championships or the Olympic Games. So if you say that Noah is coming back and he's looking bigger and stronger, probably spent more time in the weight room this year. He's got a lot of time. But this is really just understanding, executing, getting stronger, working on some of the small executions in his race. He was beaten by two Jamaicans, and so the two titles that America needs to not have is heavyweight champion of the world or world fastest man. The changes that I see in Noah in the race, yeah, that's expected. I mean, I expected him to, the race that I saw with Jareem is a taller and a stronger speed endurance athlete. I expected actually Jareem to beat him by quite a bit, but I love the fact that these guys are, they're joking with each other and there's great competition on the track. And at the end of the day, me as a former champion and a fan, we get to win. We get to watch great performances. But yeah, I mean, Noah looks a little bigger. Yeah, probably spent a little more time in the weight room. Winning, I mean, even by just by a hair, that was expected. But yeah, we're gonna see some changes this year.
Here's the thing. Given how close it was to between himself and of course Lev and of course Bednarek. Yeah, and at the World Championships last year, could it be that he's adding power to maybe separate himself from them, given that he's stated publicly that he wants to win the triple in LA 2028 in front of his home crowd? Is this probably the start of something in terms of that process, in terms of getting faster, maybe challenging Bolt's world record in the 200, because that's always been a goal of his? Is this a year when he probably puts those pieces together to try to accomplish those?
Well, first of all, let's not talk world record. 19-1 is not. That's going to sit up there for a while. 9.58 is definitely going to sit up there for a while. But yeah, I think the plan is like if I'm in his camp or having a conversation with him, the process for me would to look through how he got beaten. So if he got beaten, coming out of the blocks first 30 meters, Noah's top speed is not that of Kishane's. Noah's first 30 meters is not as good as Oblique. And I've yet to see what Brian's gonna do when he's up against those three guys. So I'm processing exactly what's happening in his race. My thought is that he has to work on some of the weaknesses that he has, and some of the weaknesses that he has is going to be a lot to overcome. Being the fact that the confidence on Kishane's side should be very high, Oblique should be at another level. Brian being the new guy, and certainly all the Americans that are rivaling him. So Bednarik finding out how exactly he's going to execute his race. Coleman's got to come back. I mean, there's many other athletes. So yeah, it's certainly a year when all the adjustments have to be made, all of them, every single thing. I mean, because there's no time for that in 27, like zero.
Yeah, the key thing about it as well is that, as you mentioned, the field is getting closer to him. There are so many players now. But would it be wiser? I mean, you've been to the top. You've been to the top of the mountain. Would it be wise for him to focus on just one event, one individual event? Because he'll be what? He'll be 31 by LA 28. Would it be best for him to just focus on the 200 as opposed to trying to go for all three? Because in fairness, on paper, Kishane is already fast at 975. Oblique is already fast at 977. There's young Anthony coming up who is also in his camp, Lance Browman's camp in Florida. Would it be best for him to focus on just the 200? I mean, because he's world champion 4 times in that event. Would it be best for him to focus on that event and leave the 100 alone and try to end up on top? His glaring weaknesses in the 100. 79, I mean, 10 years ago, 979 wasn't going to get you anywhere because, Justin was running 75 and 73. Bolt was running, Blake, the whole shebang. I mean, there were 4 or 5 guys who were clearly faster than he was. And we're seeing the emergence again of new talents coming through, as I just mentioned, Kishane and, of course, Oblique, where he might not even be on the podium in the 100 in LA 2028.
Well, here's the thing, Leighton. I am never going to dim someone's light on their ambition, right? So, you know what I mean? So I think that if its dream is to be to be at the top of the podium in 3 events, I'm like, man, Noah, go at it. Here's one of the things that used to happen when I was competing. We used to love hearing people's interviews, hearing what they say they're gonna. And my job is to make sure that as long as you ain't doing nothing to me, because my goal is to go out and win. You know what I mean? So I think that hopefully it creates. I don't know. It lights the fire under more athletes. Hopefully, it lights the fire under Oblique. I mean, like you said, Oblique and Kishane and Brian are fast today, right? And these are people that and this is competing today. So you have a 2-year goal that I can't see how it is that I cannot see how Noah can win the 100 in LA. Can't see, but might be very possible. The 200, yes, the 200 it's his race. It's definitely his race to lose. And as a speed endurance guy, he's exceptional. So at the end of the day, I think that Noah is very ambitious, but I think that there should be an incredible creation of rivalries now of those other athletes to stop them. That's what the sport is all about. Somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to break 10 world records." You're like, "Not on my watch." So I'm hoping I see that again. No, I think if Noah wanted, I mean, Carl Lewis went for 4 in '84, and America is hosting the party. So at the end of the day, I understand how that is because America hosts a party in '84, America hosts the party in '96, and I can guarantee you one thing, lately, America hates when another country comes in and dominates and leave. Right. And so I did that, or Relay did that. So we took all the sprints. Well, Michael ran the 2 and the 4, but they don't like that. And so I know that Noah is going to be more than ready, as well as the other American position that I hope they take it, the same one that I did in '96, which is I'm going to the games and I ain't losing.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Brianna Liston now. She's been 3 years at LSU, she's been more hurt than not. She hasn't run since March last year, went to Florida, got some treatment in Lance Browman's camp, and opens With our second place finish to Dina Asher-Smith, 7:11. This fast is our fastest opener because our previous fastest opener was 7:13 back in 2025, last year. What do you make of the run? I mean, Dina clearly is more experienced. Dina's been there, done that. Dina's with Michael Ford now over at Baylor, having left Florida last year, went to England and came back to the States. You know, people have been clamoring for Brianna to join the Clayton twins as, you know, the next big three for out of Jamaica. Based on what you saw, you know, what is your takeaway from what that performance was?
First of all, I will say I'm very happy to see her compete. That's the number one thing. And I mean, you know, so you have a young lady that has who is incredibly talented and definitely needs to be part of the new wave, with the Queen Shelly Ann retiring and Elaine coming back and Sharika there, and also the Clayton twins as well as Jones. She's definitely the new wave of the Jamaicans. All the expectations is she's the new wave of the Jamaicans. And ladies, that's going to be dominant. So the number one thing for me, I was very happy to see her compete and finish the race and not be hurt. Dina is a veteran, bro. I mean, regardless of how you look at it, Dina's a veteran, and you see her race. She's Brianna doesn't do a lot of indoor running, and you can see that. And with Dina, just on her body, just on her foot placement, her first 30 meters out of the blocks. Yeah, I mean, she's ready to go to World Indoors. You know what I mean? So again, watching the race itself, no surprise that Dina won. Very happy that Brianna, you can see when Brianna was at 40 meters, where you can see the wheels. She came out the block really high. You can't really do that indoors, and you can't pause. Like, you just have to go. So yeah. So my take is Dina Asher-Smith expected. Brianna just happy to see her compete. Just happy to see her healthy, and looking forward to her next couple of races.
Ackeem Blake, though, 3. Word is that he's been spending more time in the gym. He looks bigger. 6:53, which is, I think, joint world lead. I'm not quite sure, but it's up there. But he looks strong. I mean, last year he looked like he lost some power late in the season and got to the semifinals at the World Championships, but couldn't push it through to get to the finals. Clearly, there's a plan to get him bigger and stronger because he's a small guy, not the biggest. So what did you make of that? Pretty impressive run, because there was a solid field that he beat. I mean, what's his name from Puerto Rico? Benitez was 6:56. Jordan Anthony was in that race as well. He's in his first year as a pro as well, having run 9:75 in college. And he's at Lance Brahman as well. He beat a solid field with a pretty solid performance. Word is that he's probably aiming for maybe 6.4s or 6.3s this year.
Well, here's the thing, dude. Ackeem Blake is the odd man out. We're talking. I mean, he was in the top. He was the top 3 of conversations only a year ago, right? So I'm glad that he's pissed off. I'm glad that he understands now that, hey, listen, nah, take nothing from them people no more, right? And so yeah, you're right. He's a smaller guy. I recognize there's especially some of the athletes that train today. When I compete, I mean, I'm 6'1", bro, competing about 210 pounds. But I lift weights. I lift all through the season. I lived all the way up to the championships, the entire year. So, and I think that some of these athletes, maybe they laid off weights. Ackeem did that. Not sure, but yeah, he does look bigger, and that's supposed to happen, Leighton. When you're coming off fall training, you're supposed to look bigger. You're supposed to be stronger. So, you know what? I like what he did. I love his execution. At 30 meters, he was separating himself from the field. I like the fact that that he beat a fantastic field, and that I just like what he's doing, understanding that this year it's a non-championship year. I mean, I call it a non-championship year because, again, the best athletes never go to World Indoors. But maybe it's a chance for Ackeem to kind of go out there and do some things indoors. Why not capitalize on the fact that it's available? It is a title. Go get it. And so yeah, I love the fact how he executed. I mean, he was tall. For the last 40, 45, 55 meters, he was tall, wasn't reaching, so I like what he's doing. And 53 as an opener is great.
Yeah, so, okay, but yeah, because the plan for me, the plan I heard is that he's, probably going to World Indoors if selected and everything. So kudos to him. Want to talk a little bit about Janita Smith. It's a girl who won at champs, did well at Auburn, won gold as a member of Jamaica's 4x1 team in 2019 in Doha. And of course, silver last year at the World Championship, running on Shakira Richards on the anchor leg. She opens up this year at GC Foster just a week ago and ran 7:06 outdoors behind Tia Clayton, ran 7:02. Then she goes into Europe. She runs 7:17 in Stockholm in the heats, and then comes back, runs the Clayton twins down in the final and wins in 7:12 to 7:14. Both of them, Tia and Tia, got the same time, 7:14. And of course, goes to Germany and wins a couple of days later in 7:15. Is this a breakout year for her finally? I mean, she's 29 now. I mean, time is not on her side. And she's had 4 years of batting injuries. I remember she spoke to me last year and telling me that she couldn't squat for a while because of the back injuries. She couldn't clean because she had a shoulder injury. Now she seems to be healthy enough to be able to add those elements, strength elements to her work. Could it be that the big four, meaning Sharika, the Clayton twins, and Brianna Liston, now becomes a big five with Johnny Smith finally healthy?
Again, I hope so, man, because, the human body is at its strongest mentally, physically, psychologically, maybe biologically, between 28 and 30. So I'm hoping that I see that. And I think that, and I think that her biological age is 29, as you said, but maybe because of the injuries, it's 4 years younger. Maybe she has a 24-year-old body, biologically for training and competition. But I hope so. I mean, I think that there's so many exceptional talents that you've said that have come out of Jamaica, gone to US, done really well, and then just either get lost on the journey there, or major injuries. And so I'm hoping that, if anything, as I said to you before, and I'll repeat it, this is the year. If you want to get known, be known, right? If she's injury-free, Leighton, I would advise her run every meet that's possible. Establish your name out there, obviously for sponsorship and marketing, but just get all of the rust for all of the years that you've been injured. Get all of that out there, leave it on the track, and then have a phenomenal season, and then get ready and get ripe for 27.
I want to ask you this about Kishane Thompson, though, because in Stockholm, and I get that word was that they arrived late at the meet, so maybe some fatigue factor or jet lag or whatever it was involved. But Kishane, in 2024, the Olympics, Kishane got run down by Noah Lyles. He got run down by Oblique last year in Tokyo. He was almost caught at GC Foster a couple of weeks ago, last week, not this current weekend, the weekend before that. He ran 6:50, I think it was. But he was being closed down by Odile McPherson and Brian Level at the line. Says it was 6:52, 6:53, 6:54. In Stockholm, he was leading and got caught by Glaive and by Azu virtually just before the line. Is that a concern, you think? His ability to close regardless of the event? I mean, 60 meters is where he usually picks up hits his top speed in 100. But is it indicative of something else? Is it a change of race model? Is it something else that's going on? Why he seems to not to be able to hold off people, even at the 60 meters now, as opposed to prior?
Well, first of all, Kishane should be dominating like every race that he goes in. I mean, I'm a big fan. You know what I mean? Like, he should be dominating. I think the problem that he gets, and obviously he and his coach will work this out, and I'm certainly not trying to coach from the sidelines, but I just don't. I think sometimes when you get up into the race and you're into the vortex, you're trying to run fast. All Kishane has to do is just allow the race to come to him, whether it's 60 meters or whether it's 100 meters. All he's got to do when he gets up to top speed, my man, ain't nobody gonna touch you when you get to your top speed. All you gotta do is just relax. Literally, I remember coach used to say to me, my coach used to say to me, he goes, if you're trying to panic, just remember to take one breath in. So it allows your diaphragm to straighten out and you can relax for the next few strides, right? And so that's really what I think. I think he gets in, and maybe he mentally, maybe Kishane wants to run so fast that he thinks that pumping his arms really, really fast or really hard over the latter part of the race is going to allow him to run fast. When in fact, you're supposed to relax and allow it to come to you. And so if we're talking about people closing on him, no one should be closing on Kishane Thompson. Nobody should be doing that. And so yeah, I'm sure these are in race things. I mean, it's an in race thing. Coach can't fix it, so Kishane has to fix it. You know what I mean? He has to allow himself to relax when it gets to top speed. and in the 60, it means that he's going to get the top speed probably at 48 meters, right? And in the 100, probably like later on, but he's got to relax for a longer period of time. So yeah, it's clearly the only thing that I can possibly see is just him relaxing. Let the race come to him. I mean, again, this guy should be crushing every time.
It comes down to overthinking, huh?
A lot of that.
Allow the instinct of the training to just take over. You're thinking about what you need to do, and it slows you down because
Right.
you and I ran track together. I mean, in high school, we know what it feels like from that level to you're to the pro level. Certainly, when you're running, if you just let yourself go. I remember there's a time I don't remember. You probably didn't see that race where I was racing against Paul Melville, and I was way behind because I picked up and I twisted my knee the day before, and I just stopped trying, and I closed down right on the line. And they gave him the win. I swear I won that race, but regardless, the thing, that's how I learned to just relax the thing. Because when you start trying too much, then you start to slow down because you're tightening up, thinking about what you need to do, as opposed to just letting it flow. And I think that it seems to me that could be the issue with him as well.
Well, listen, I think the human body operates at its very best when it's relaxed, right? So yeah, you like he has to do that, and you're correct. If you're trying to run fast, it ain't never gonna. And so yeah, like if I'm sitting at the sidelines looking at how Kishane could improve. I mean, he's gonna improve by just executing and relaxing. That's 100% on him. It's not at all a criticism because believe me, I want him. I just want these guys to run fast. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely want him to optimize his first 30 and first 40 meters. So let's hope that he utilizes 2026 as the year when he can capitalize on getting out of the block and allowing the race to come to.
DB, that's all the time we have for this week. But thank you so much again for joining us. We have to do this again because I love talking to you about track and field. Primarily because we go way back, and we have a far. I like the idea that we have that commonality, so we have a connection of understanding where these things work and how these things work. So we'll try it again soon, and well, lots of races coming, lots of meets coming up, so we'll probably get an opportunity to do that soon as well. So, of course, thanks again, guys. Of course, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk more here on the Mr. Analyst channel very soon. Until then. Well, I have to tell you something. Coming up with a young lady who, from Antigua, she's the fastest woman in Antigua, national record holder, Jola Lloyd. I had a chat with her recently about going pro now. She's going pro for the first time. She doesn't have a shoe sponsor, but she's going pro nonetheless. I wanted to hear that conversation that she has, really great conversation with her about her objectives for 2026. And you'll get that in the next couple of days. So you look and you can look out for that as well.
Okay, hold on. Let me interrupt you for a second. Did you just say that there's a lady going pro and does not have a shoe contract?
No, she doesn't.
Well, listen, man. Well, I'm gonna cheer for you, young lady. I'm saying to you that takes some big cojones.
Yeah, go on over there.
And if you good luck, absolutely good luck. Make sure that the shoe company pay at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Until then, guys, bye bye. Have a good time, and of course, we'll be back with you soon on Mr. Analyst.